of being. He is spirit, pure spirit. That being is your own wonderful human imagination. The eternal body of man is the imagination. That is God himself. The divine body, Jesus. We are his members. Because we are his members, one body, you can say this whole vast world is the soliloquy of God. God talking to God. The whole vast world is yourself pushed out. There is nothing but you in the world. Here is this divine unity that reveals itself in multiplicity, in, I'll call it division, in fragmentation. But they're only members of the one body, and that one body you are. But when you say, you do not say you are, you say I am. Be still and know that I am God. That's the being. Now before this second man is born in you, you can become aware of him and begin to exercise his power. The power that one day you will completely exercise and consciously exercise. The outer man must serve him. In your body, there are two beings, two races, and they are rival races from their birth. Yet I tell you, one will prevail, one will become the reigning power, and that one comes second. He is the second man who is the Lord from heaven. He doesn't come first. He comes second, and he's completely unknown by the world. But when he comes, you recognize he is your own true identity. You thought yourself prior to this to be the thing that you were wearing, the outer garment covered in hair. When really you are the one hung to sleep within that being. And that one is the Lord of the universe. Now how do I know it? By testing it. I know it from experience. Here I stand in the world and everything is against me, against what I would like to be. And reason tells me that I could not be what I want to be. Or I could not, I'll be very practical, a lady in the audience would like to dispose of a home. It's all hers, it's her home. But they tell her, reason tells her, money is scarce. That you can't possibly find the money because, well, it is expensive to raise money. I'm speaking to her, but to all. She has a home. Maybe you don't have a home. Maybe you have the need of a job. And they'll tell you jobs are scarce, as they tell her money is scarce. It's a good home. I know the home. It's in the $80,000 bracket. She could get $75,000 for it now, if she would take it, but she knows it's worth more. They'll rezone the neighborhood. In fact, I live on the street, so I know it well. And the whole thing is now allowed to go up, well, 9, 10 stories. And they're only individual homes now. She wants to unload it, because she lives in one unit. She has two, and hers is 8 rooms, and she lives alone. Her son, who has his own home, own apartment, for her sake, he will sleep there, still paying rent where he is in his own place. But just to comfort her, he comes and sleeps there. He doesn't want to do that, and she doesn't want to do that. But she rambles in 8 rooms. I've told her, and I will tell her over and over and over. So they say, how often, Lord, how often must I do it? She says, 70 times 7. You cannot sleep in your place physically and in your imagination in that state and still dispose of it. If I would dispose of that home tonight, I would sleep elsewhere, even though I haven't found my permanent or seeming permanent place, for nothing is permanent here. I would still sleep elsewhere in my imagination as though I simply took a vacation, having sold. And I thought of the home that my husband built for me. It was the home that he built, now that it is my home. But in spite of all the memories, I have unloaded it. And I think of it. Now this is the secret. When the being within you begins to awake, you realize things are real only as he thinks from a state. Thinking of it doesn't make it real. Thinking from it makes it real. You have to actually think from the state desired and think of the state that you don't want. You can think of it forever, but you must think from what you want in this world. She has to actually sleep this night in a state which allows her to think of the home that she formerly occupied for almost, well, say, going on 18 years, where it was built, it was their home, and now she doesn't own it, she had unloaded it. So she thinks of it and not from it. It's all the difference in the world between thinking from what you want and thinking of what you want. I can think of a state from now to the end of time and never realize it. Let me begin tonight to think from it. Don't ask yourself how it happened, through whom it happened. Just let me think from it. Because the being who is thinking from it is that second man. He has all the power in the world. He is defined in Scripture as the power of God and the wisdom of God. He has all that it takes to devise all the means necessary to unload that place in the immediate present if you think from instead of. I am telling you this from my own personal experience. I am telling you this from my family's experience. I can face an audience, no matter how vast it is. I would defy anyone to rise in the audience and tell a story where they were more behind a financial 8-ball than my very, very large but perfectly wonderful family. We had no money. We had no one to whom we could turn to borrow money. Fortunately for the family, I did have a father who in some wonderful way stumbled upon this wonderful thing. The only book in this world that he really knew, but really knew, was the Bible. I never saw him open any other book in our house, but he knew the Bible. And in some peculiar way, he actually stumbled upon this secret. My brother Victor, who now runs all the ventures, he stumbled upon it at a very tender age. And they believed it, and they applied it. They're found before birth, because he was not born in them. But before he is born, the thing jumps in the mother's womb. You almost feel its presence. I know in my own case, when my daughter was conceived, and the joy, the fun of putting my hand upon my wife's stomach and feel life, and something is not yet born, but it's alive, and to feel something kicking there. And it was such fun just to put your head, it moved now, it's over here, and moves oneself. And when she would say, he's over here now, forget it, not only he, it's she, I'm telling you, it's a she there. And it's moving all over, because she talked to me. And she gave me her name, she told me all about herself. And this lovely little girl, she's about, maybe 4 or 5. A sweet little thing, mass of curls. When she was born, she looked like Gandhi. Not a hair on her head, bat ears, so unlike the child that I saw. But when she was 4, she was the embodiment of what I saw her to be. And I would put my hand and feel there's something not yet born. Well, you can feel it, may I tell you? You can feel the presence of that something in you. For in your limbs lie nations twain, rival races from their birth. One the mastery shall gain, the younger o'er the elder reign. So something in you is being born. It will come out. When it comes out, it is the Jesus Christ of Scripture who is the God of the universe. Now learn to exercise him before he is born. I tell you, you are all imagination. Man is all imagination, and God is man, and exists in us, and we in him. The eternal body of man is the imagination, and that is God himself. The divine body that we call Jesus, and we are his members. Because here is one body, diversified, a unity in many. So when you look out on the world, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. And this is only a soliloquy. It's a monologue. So that everything is simply you. And God is talking to God. We are told in Scripture, the 42nd Psalm, and deep calls unto deep. It is all within us. So the strangest person in the world. And you think you've never seen him before. It's only an aspect of your own being. And in the depths of that being you are. Or he couldn't even be alive. There's only one God. So the whole vast world is man pushed up. Now, in a simple